The pick is in.
With the 40th pick, the New Orleans Saints select Tyler Shough, quarterback from Louisville, presented by LinkedIn. Here to break this down with me, it's Ross Jackson, the host of Locked On Saints. And Ross, one of the more controversial picks, maybe the most controversial pick this draft has seen so far. Tyler Shough, the Saints take him over Shedeur Sanders, over Jalen Milroe. Why Tyler Shough, Ross? Why was this the pick over those two other quarterbacks?
Yeah, look, I can tell you that the Saints were never in on Shedeur Sanders, and he was a guy that might not have even been on their board. I think the thing that you're looking at here with Tyler Shough, though, is somebody that they feel like they can develop and be the style of passer that they want. Do I think they're going to be able to do that? I have no idea. But I do know that a guy like Kellen Moore, who is now the New Orleans Saints' new head coach, has won with guys like Cooper Rush. He's won with guys like Tanner McKee, and he's won with guys like Kenny Pickett in the past. Maybe he feels that he's going to be able to do something here in terms of developing and consistently getting the best out of Tyler Shough. Because the truth of the matter is that when it's on for him, but when it's off, it's horribly off for him. So a lot more of a project here than I think you'd like to look at as a guy that could be the future of your franchise, but sticking around, picking him at 20, not giving up any additional assets to get him, picking him up at 40 and not giving up any additional assets to get him, I guess is a thing that puts you a little bit more kind of in the space of, okay, let's wait and see if this works out. But first New Orleans Saints quarterback ever selected in the entire franchise's history in the second round. We'll see if that ends up giving him a little bit of a boost heading into his NFL career.
Now, there's the Derek Carr injury situation. The Saints also have spent high draft capital on another quarterback in Spencer Rattler. Now you add Tyler Shough to that equation as well. How do you see this quarterback situation shaking out between those two, particularly between Spencer Rattler and Tyler Shough, as they kind of navigate the future?
Yeah, look, Spencer Rattler was a 5th round pick, so I wouldn't call that necessarily high draft capital. So I think that when you have a guy here that's selected at number 40 overall in the top 50, I think he's the guy that immediately becomes the front runner to potentially become the leader of your quarterback position for the future. To your point, the Derek Carr, let's call it fiasco, we'll call it what it is something that's still ongoing with this team, and there doesn't seem to be any resolution there. I think Derek Carr just got his resolution. I don't think Derek Carr's back in the New Orleans Saints uniform. Now, I don't believe necessarily that Tyler Shough is a ready-made prospect that walks in and starts week 1, but maybe they can work on that and get him there over the course of training camp in the offseason. And I imagine that Spencer Rattler will still be a part of the conversation, at least publicly. We'll see how much of an opportunity he gets to be able to compete. But right now, it feels like it's Shough or bust when it comes to the New Orleans Saints at quarterback, at least for this year in 2025.
The Saints have gone offense with their first two picks. Calvin Banks comes in at number 9, and now Tyler Shough at 40. Where do you see them going, Ross, now with the rest of their selections?
Yeah, I'm really shocked by the fall of some of the top edge rushers so far in this class. So maybe there's an opportunity, or maybe I'll call them second tier edge rushers in this year's class. And so maybe there's an opportunity for them to be able to reach back in the 3rd round. They have picked 71 and 93 at the time that we're recording this. We know the New Orleans Saints like to get aggressive though, so maybe they can move up to grab one of those guys. But I do expect a defensive focus to seep in here pretty soon. Edge rusher is certainly a place where they can go to kind of get that Brandon Staley 3-4 stand-up edge rusher, but also cornerback, major need for this New Orleans Saints team that they've yet to address. However, that position is deep enough that you might be able to find a potential starter in the 3rd or 4th round in this year's draft class.
For more on Tyler Shough, let's hear from Locked On Louisville, who spent a lot of time covering Tyler Shough up close. And for more on the New Orleans Saints, subscribe to Locked On Saints wherever you get your podcasts.
Tyler Shough could end up as one of the best quarterbacks in this entire draft. I'm Dalton Pence, host of the Locked On Louisville podcast, and I understand the concerns. He's 25 years old and has had some injuries in the past, although I wouldn't really worry about those being recurring injuries moving forward. But all that pales in comparison to the fact that there are not many throws on the football field that Tyler Shough cannot make. He has elite arm talent and a great ability to process. He's going to be able to come in right away and compete for immediate snaps and could be a multiple year starter at the NFL level. Trust in the talent. If he was a little bit younger, he would be a high draft pick in the 1st round. For more on the Louisville Cardinals, subscribe to the Locked On Louisville podcast wherever you get your podcasts.